Hey friend, today we're back continuing our conversation around change management. If you've ever led a team through change, you know it is not always smooth sailing. In fact, sometimes it can feel like you're dragging people along kicking and screaming. The resistance is real and it can be very frustrating, especially when you know that the change is necessary and beneficial in the long run. But here's something I've learned the hard way. Resistance to change isn't just about people being difficult. It's about fear, uncertainty, and sometimes even exhaustion from too many changes all at once. So today we're going to dive into what's really going on when people resist change, how to address it in a way that builds trust instead of breaking it, and most importantly, how to move forward without forcing compliance at the expense of morale. Because change isn't just about new processes or strategies, it is about people. And if we don't handle resistance well, we risk losing their trust, engagement, and commitment along the way.
Welcome to the Grace-Filled Leader Podcast. Do you want better work-life balance? Do you get stuck in patterns of perfectionism and people-pleasing? Have you always been an overachiever but never really felt good enough? No matter how much outward success you achieve? Do you want more time for the things that matter most? Well, you are in the right place. Here on the Grace-Filled Leader Podcast, we focus on spirit-driven success and share the secrets to having better work-life balance as a busy woman in leadership. Here you will learn how to set boundaries like a boss, find peace of mind, and reclaim your time for the things that matter most. Hi, I'm Tanya, a wife, mom, leader, and certified Christian life coach. For most of my life, I tried to find worthiness through achievement. I spent decades people-pleasing and pouring myself into my work. I was looking for my value through the approval of others. This led me to feel burned out, empty, and exhausted. I had no time or energy for myself or my family. I realized that I was wasting time and energy looking for validation in all the wrong places. But my life changed when I finally surrendered and God showed me a different way. It is my mission to help you start living the abundant life God has for you. If you're ready to become fueled by grace and find freedom from people-pleasing, if you're ready to multiply your time and impact as a Christian woman in leadership, this podcast is for you. Roll up your sleeves, sister friends. It's time to get after it.
All right, first things first. Let's reframe the way we see resistance. It's easy to assume that resistance means that people are against you or the organization, but most of the time, it's not personal. Here are some of the biggest reasons people resist change. Number one, fear of the unknown. They might be thinking, how will this affect me? Will I still be valued? Is it going to be more work? Is it going to take more time? Number two, a loss of control. They might think things like, I had a system that worked for me already, and now I have to start all over again. Number three, a lack of trust. Maybe they think leadership keeps changing things without asking for input. So, what's the real reason behind this change? Maybe they've experienced past failures. Last time we tried something new, it didn't go well, so why should this time be any different? Or they may be experiencing change fatigue. We've been through so many changes recently, I don't have the energy for another one. Here's the thing, resistance isn't always a bad thing. It can actually be a sign that your team cares about their work. If people didn't care, they wouldn't push back. They would just disengage. So maybe instead of seeing resistance as an obstacle, see it as an opportunity. An opportunity to understand your team better and bring them along in a way that makes them feel valued, heard, and supported. So let's talk about the wrong and the right ways to handle resistance. Let's be real, when we're leading through change and people resist, our instinct is often to push harder. We explain the logic, We give more details and we expect people to just get on board. But logic alone doesn't always win people over. People don't just need information, they need reassurance. So let's talk about a few common wrong ways that leaders handle resistance and what to do instead. So the first wrong is to dismiss concerns, like saying, just trust me, this is going to be better. Instead, acknowledge emotions. Maybe say, I know this change brings a lot of uncertainty, so let's talk through your concerns. Another wrong thing to do is to assume silence means agreement. No one's saying anything, so they must be just fine with this. Well, instead, create a space for open dialogue. Maybe you say to your team, I want to make sure we're addressing any concerns before we move forward. What questions do you have? This is something we talk about a lot where I work. Instead of saying, do you have any questions? Actually say, what questions do you have? It's much more, it opens the conversation much more than just leaving a yes-no answer. Another wrong is to force compliance, saying, this is happening whether you like it or not. Even though this might be true, a much better way is to try to build buy-in. Maybe you say, let's talk about how we can make this transition as smooth as possible for everyone. Resistance is often less about what is changing and more about how the change is being led. If people feel forced into something, they'll resist out of principle. But if they feel included in the process, they're far more likely to get on board. Trust me, I've been through enough forced things in recent years. It's just never a good thing, and it's really difficult to lead through an environment like that. So let's talk about some practical strategies for moving forward through resistance. What can we do to turn resistance into engagement? Well, here are a few practical steps to take when you're leading through any change. First, identify the real source of resistance. Don't just assume people don't want to change. Dig deeper. Get curious. Ask, what are their biggest concerns? Have they been through unsuccessful changes before that are contributing to their concerns? Do they feel like their voices haven't been heard? Second, involve your team in the process. People support what they help create. If possible, give your team some ownership over how the change is implemented. So you as the leader should focus more on the what and the why, and give your team some input with the how. Even small decisions like how the training is conducted or how updates are communicated can make a big difference in getting buy-in. Third, communicate early and often. And many of these things we talked about on the last episode. Change feels less overwhelming when people know what to expect. Keep your team updated, even if it's just to say, we don't have all the answers yet, but here's what we do know. Number 4, acknowledge the discomfort of change. It's okay to say, I know this is tough and I appreciate your patience as we navigate it. A little empathy goes a long way. Number 5, reinforce the why behind the change. People need to see the bigger picture. Connect the change to a purpose that resonates with them, whether that's serving their clients better, making processes smoother, or creating new opportunities for their professional growth. And finally, celebrate progress. Even small wins deserve recognition. Did someone on your team embrace the change and find success? Celebrate that. Positive reinforcement builds momentum. I'm going to get a little vulnerable here and just share a recent personal story of my own of kind of being on the receiving end of going through a big change. And I had a really tough, and as I look back and as I was preparing for these episodes this week on change management, I thought about my own frustrations and my own struggles with the change that I was trying to navigate and being led through to some degree. And here are the things that contributed to it being a really difficult week and segment of navigating this change. First of all, I'm someone that tries to be responsive and efficient and responsible and communicate clearly. And there were aspects of this change and aspects of me doing my part of the project or the process, and I was not able to get the information and the communication that I needed to do my job well. And so I was frustrated. I was trying to get answers. I was trying to get answers in a respectful and professional way, and I wasn't getting them. And so then I felt like I wasn't able to do my work timely and effectively. Also, I felt like concerns that I was having about the process and the project weren't being sought out and weren't really being valued or considered. And so that contributed to me feeling less valued and less valuable and really questioning what's my purpose here anyway. Like if my kind of expertise or opinions or ideas aren't going to be sought out or listened to or valued to some degree, even if it doesn't impact the actual change or the process, but not even having the platform to be heard and understood really contributed to me feeling disrespected and not valued, and all that goes with that, I guess. Sorry, I'm sort of processing that as I talk to you about it. But here's what it led to. Instead of me feeling like I could continue to be engaged in the process, it made me want to run for the hills. I'm not going to lie. It made me want to just quit and give up and say, what's the point? I'm not getting what I need. I can't do what I need to do to move forward. And my opinions, my expertise, what I bring to the table isn't being seen or valued. And I'm going to tell you what a leader did for me that helped me come around a bit. My leader took the opportunity to sit one-on-one with me and just, number one, give me clearer communication and give me information that I hadn't yet received. Number two, my leader was transparent and honest with kind of what we're looking at, what the plan is going to be, the roadmap that we're looking at, what needs to be done to get there. And then he let me just have my feelings, express my frustrations, the things that were making it difficult for me to feel like I could do my job effectively, because the reality is, not only do I want to do my job well because it aligns with who I am and my own integrity, but I also want to serve my leader well. I want to represent the organization well. I want to represent my leader well by doing my work effectively and responsibly and efficiently. And I felt like I was failing in that. So think about that as you lead others through a difficult change. Think about whether you are, number one, laying out the roadmap, giving them clear information about what is happening, when it's happening, what kind of support will be needed, and what kind of support will be given. Are you communicating early and often all along the process? Are you giving an opportunity for their feedback, their concerns, their fears? Are you giving an opportunity for them to just share that in a safe space and actually listen and seek to understand? Are you reassuring them? Are you reassuring them about their value, their place on the team, where you see them throughout this process and maybe at the end of this process. Experiencing the frustration and the challenges that I experienced recently really helped reinforce the topic that I'm trying to talk to you about today around leading through change and managing resistance through change, because I got to feel the feelings that many times my team members might feel if I'm leading them through change. So it was really a wake-up call and a reminder of the human aspect that comes along with change and the uncertainty that comes with it. And life experience is probably the best learning example. So I just wanted to share that with you today, kind of be vulnerable with my own struggles and just put a real picture to where the resistance was for me, what was contributing to it, and what helped with that in terms of what I received from my own leadership. So I don't know if that's helpful for you all at all. It's probably oversharing on my part, which is common. But it's real, it's human, it's what I've experienced recently in regard to this topic. And I hope it gives you pause as you think about either going through change yourself and being on the receiving end, or leading people through change. People are people, and people have feelings. And sometimes feelings hold a lot more weight for them than the facts of the situation. So just be mindful of that and be prepared to consider that. Leading through change isn't just about implementing new strategies. It's about leading people. And people need clarity, reassurance, and a sense of belonging in the process. If you take anything away from today and yesterday's conversation, let it be this. Resistance isn't personal. It's usually about fear or uncertainty. The way you handle resistance determines whether your team engages or disengages. Building trust and involving your team in the process will get you way further than forcing compliance ever will. So as you navigate change in your own leadership, take a deep breath. Be patient with your team and with yourself. And remember, real leadership isn't about avoiding resistance. It's about moving through it with wisdom and empathy. Have you ever struggled with resistance to change? What worked for you? How did you get through that? What didn't work for you? And how did you get through that? I'd love for you to send me a message or tag me on social media and share your experiences. And until next time, I pray that the Lord fills you with gratitude, peace, and His amazing grace.
I pray this episode blessed you, spoke to you, or encouraged you in some way. If so, please share it with a friend and head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. That's the only way for me to know if you're enjoying the show. Nothing blesses me more than to hear from you. Also, come on over to our free Facebook community. This is a great place for us to support one another on our faith and leadership journeys. You can find the link to the group in the show notes or go to gracefilledleader.com/community. If you have questions or content ideas for the show, please send me a message on SpeakPipe or via email. Go to gracefilledleader.com/contact and leave a written or voice recorded message. I would love to know how I can best serve you on the podcast. Now to Him who can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3, verse 20. Until next time, my friends, God bless.